Taysom Hill was an absolute man possessed. I'm telling you, he is one of the best, pure, all-around football players I have ever seen in my life.
You're tuned in to the Ross Tucker Football Podcast, guiding your gridiron journey, none other than your host, former NFL lineman, Ross Tucker.
Oh, yeah, it is. But it's not just any Ross Tucker Football Podcast. That's because it is a Monster Monday presented, of course, by DraftKings. I'm Ross Tucker, former NFL offensive lineman, 5 teams, 7 years. Most of you know that. Now I'm a broadcaster, entrepreneur, like them both. Love getting a chance to call games like Raiders against the Dolphins yesterday for CBS. How about this? Tomorrow night, Tuesday night, Maction, Akron at Kent State. Why am I doing that game? Because I love it, because I have the disease, because I'm a sicko. And then Sunday, Titans at the Texans. Very much looking forward to both. Should be awesome. You know the drill. Every week, we got a bunch of shows for you. College Draft on Monday, Even Money on Tuesday, Fantasy Feast Wednesday and Thursday, and the Ross Tucker Football Podcast is, of course, daily, Monday through Friday. Here on Mondays, I let you know my big takeaways from the weekend that was, really the Sunday that was in the NFL. And then Jack and I go through with the things that really stood out to me from each of the contests yesterday. As a reminder, anybody that does any little thing to go the extra mile, like rating and reviewing the show or spreading the word via social media, email me, forward it to me, ross@rosstucker.com. We like to, you scratch our back, we'll scratch yours. Same with those of you that take advantage of any of our sponsors. Love westshorehome.com/Ross or Game Time app or Future Fans, all awesome. Other than that, the youtube.com/Ross Tucker NFL. Just make a comment. You got to subscribe and then make a comment. I'll send you a video on my phone. I'll email it to you, which people really like as well. Anyway, it's Big Show time.
The Big Show.
All right, Ross, what were your overall themes from Week 11 across the NFL so far?
And yes, well said, Jack, because we do have one more game tonight with the Battle of Texas on the line, Texans and the Cowboys. You know, one of the things that jumped out to me is kickers. I mean, Jack, I feel like I'm not going to do it. I feel like two things happen annually on this show. More than annually. Number one, I rant about the importance of kickers, but I think I've already done that. And then number two, we have these weekends where out of nowhere, kickers just start messing up. I think it happened last weekend too, right? Last weekend, what did we talk about? Moody and some from the Niners and somebody else who missed several kicks.
Younghoe Koo.
Yes, Younghoe Koo. Thank you, Jack. And then this week, how about Dustin Hopkins for the Browns? How about especially my cousin from another mother, Justin Tucker? What has happened, Jack? Oh, by the way, this is crazy because Jake Elliott Thursday night. Now, that was Thursday night. That wasn't Sunday, but Jake Elliott kind of started it Thursday night. He got the yips or something. He gave it to Dustin Hopkins, who gave it to Justin Tucker. Now, Dustin Hopkins, the Browns, maybe the game would have been a little bit closer. But Justin Tucker, that was the difference in the game. I mean, that was Boswell was 6 for 6. Kudos to Boz. He didn't get the kicker memo. And then the Bears getting Cairo Santos getting the kick blocked. Just unreal. Oh, last night, Evan McPherson for the Bengals. That guy's usually money too. It's just wild. And that was different arguably in that game too. Just absolutely wild. All those things that went on. Okay, so that was one of them. The other thing, Jack, bad teams staying bad or doing bad things. Were there any real upsets? Because you think about it, in a lot of these games, the Bears did, they were better, obviously. And Bears fans, that should be encouraging. But they still did the bad thing at the end to lose because they're not a good team. You go right across the board. Jaguars, stay bad. They stay horrendous, I guess, in their case. Browns, bad team, stay bad. Raiders, bad team, stay bad. And here's the thing about the bad teams. You watch these games, Raiders, I called it, Titans, Patriots, Jets, they have an uncanny ability to make critical penalties on the plays that would be the difference in the game. The Raiders, they didn't have a ton of penalties, but when they do, it's backbreaking. Same with the Titans. I already watched that game, the whole thing, every snap, prepping for Sunday in Houston. Just unbelievable the penalties that the Titans had. So that's the other thing. Bad teams doing silly things that cost them in these games. I think rookie quarterbacks having stellar performances. Anthony Richardson, more on that soon. Bo Nix, Drake May even. So it was a nice weekend for the rookie quarterbacks. And then the last theme, I guess, was game-winning touchdown runs by quarterbacks. Within 5 minutes of each other, Josh Allen and Geno Smith. So those were some of my themes, Jack, and they are always presented, of course, by Labatt Blue Light, especially the Josh Allen touchdown run. Drink some Labatt Blue Lights with your friends. Live life to the power of we. Always enjoy responsibly. Beer. Labatt USA, Buffalo, New York.
All right, Ross. The Bears, it looks like they're trying to complete the cycle of the most painful losses in football this season, this time with a blocked kick solidifying a 2019 loss.
Yeah, you said it, Jack. Just absolutely brutal. They were much, much better on offense with Thomas Brown as the OC. If you're a Bears fan, that's highly encouraging, right? Caleb Williams looked like an NFL quarterback. He played much better. The Bears' offense was much better. Still wasn't good enough. Still wasn't good enough because the Bears' defense allowed Christian Watson to have a huge game for the Packers. And I will say this, Jordan Love had another bad pick. Jordan Love, he's thrown an interception, Jack, in every game he's played in. That's not a good stat. And that one down near the goal line was real bad. But he also made some big plays downfield. And then, as already discussed, the Bears with that absolutely brutal block field goal late that it was eerily similar to the feeling for the Chiefs the week before where it was like, wow, this rookie quarterback young team is going to have a huge breakthrough win that they really need. Wah, wah.
Detroit, they embarrassed the Jaguars as changes loom for them following a 52-6 loss.
Well, so first of all, I really don't care for a report like Ian Rappaport coming out saying it's over for Doug Peterson the night before a game. No wonder they played that badly. This will happen probably soon. My guess is Doug Peterson gets fired today. Let's see if this is the third straight prediction, Jack, that somehow comes to fruition while, shortly after we say it on the show. You know what, by the way? The Lions, pretty easily this week, they were the O-line of the week, presented by Campbell's Chunky, soup that eats like a meal. Are you kidding me? I lost track. I think they had 650 yards of offense or something. It was the biggest margin in yardage since 1979, the year I was born, 45 years ago. And I know the Jags didn't put up much of a fight, but you have 600 yards of offense. You have every guy had a great statistical. You win by that many, your O-line is doing work. Feels like it's the second or third time that the Lions have been my Campbell's Chunky O-line of the week. But that makes sense because they're one of the best offensive lines in the league. Other than
Miami.
that, I don't really know what else there is to say. I mean, I thought the Lions safeties, Branch and Joseph, continued to ball. You know, the biggest thing I think might be that our guy, Jack Anzalone, broke his forearm. He's out 6 to 8 weeks. My guy from Wyomissing. That hurts. That hurts the Lions, and it hurts my heart. And I'm very, very sad for him. Hopefully he can get back for the playoffs because they need him.
Miami, they stay alive with a 34-19 win at home over the Raiders in a game you might know a thing or two about.
Yeah, let's start with the food. I did not go to the Dolphins press box, had the CBS crew meal. It was good because they had a really nice salad bar. They had an omelet station, but only one person working the omelet station, and there was a line, so I had to just not do that. So I had pancakes with a bunch of like raspberries and blueberries on top. I never have pancakes, but they were delicious actually. Pancakes are nice when you don't have them very often, especially. Then I had a salad with chicken. Tua was stellar. You know, Greg said this, I think, on Thursday. The things that he is good at, he is elite at. Timing, anticipation, accuracy, processing. The Raiders could not get a stop on third down. They just could not do it the entire game. Unbelievable. And a couple times, Jack, it was due to costly penalties by the Raiders. They got a stop, but then there was a silly penalty that they didn't need, especially the one on Chason when they had him stopped and then would have held him to a field goal. I will say this, speaking of the Bears and their offense, Gardner Minshew and the new offense for the Raiders with new offensive coordinator Scott Turner, they looked much better, much better. Both teams, Jack, no punts in the first half, second half. I mean, it was that both teams just kept having these long drives the whole game. The Dolphins are not out of this. They're not out of this yet. I will say, though, that the Colts and Broncos both winning doesn't necessarily help the Dolphins. The other last thing is, how about these tight ends? Jonnu Smith had a big game. Brock Bowers is incredible. He did have one drop, but the Raiders should probably just, like, he's at the status already where it's like Travis Kelce, just throw him the ball every play.
The Rams, they're back at 500 with a 28-22 road win.
Needed that one. They absolutely needed that one badly. Thought Matthew Stafford was awesome in that game, getting the ball, of course, to Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, who else? The Patriots, it's the same thing that I could have said about the Raiders, the Titans, I'll say. Critical drops, critical penalties ruin another very impressive outing by Drake May. Drake May has the goods, Jack. Drake May has the goods. And the last thing I'll say for the Rams, I feel like I can't do a Rams breakdown without mentioning Jared Verse, the rookie D-end, and just how much of a difference maker he has become.
The Saints, they stay alive with a 35-14 win over the Browns.
How about Taysom Hill? You know what? I could have done Anthony Richardson. I'm going with my guy, Taysom Hill. Because for obvious reasons, for those of you who remember last year, Taysom Hill has my 11 Oaks Farms hungriest performance of the week. Genuine Wagyu beef, Angus beef, heritage breed pork, free-range chicken, all locally raised and available nationwide online. You can also shop in person at the store here in Central PA, Newville, for those of you that live around here. It is absolutely awesome. For more information, I know Thanksgiving's coming and you're thinking turkey, but start to think more than that. Start to think awesome holiday gifts. Start to think 11oaksfarms.com. Taysom Hill was an absolute man possessed. I'm telling you, I didn't stutter when I said this last year in the opener. He is one of the best, pure, all-around football players I have ever seen in my life. First player in NFL history with 100 rushing yards. He had like 135, 3 rushing touchdowns, 50 receiving yards, had over 10 yards passing, and oh, by the way, he had a kickoff return for 45 yards. This guy could play defense. This guy plays special teams. To my knowledge, we have never seen anyone like Taysom Hill in the NFL. It is absolutely incredible how many things he can do at a high level. At the NFL level, it's bananas. Also, Dustin Hopkins, we talked about. Jameis and the Browns offense, not bad. But the defense couldn't slow the Saints down. Derek Carr was sharp again. And MVS, all of a sudden, MVS had another big play.
Ross, we were all wrong about Steelers-Ravens. It was not a 3-point game. It was a 2-point game. Pittsburgh, they get the win at the end, 18-16.
You know what's funny about that too, Jack? At the end of Dolphins Raiders, okay? Tom McCarthy says, we're going to go to bonus coverage. It's going to be Steelers-Ravens. And I saw the score was 18-10. And I said, well, Tom, while I'm doing predictions, the Ravens are going to score and then not get the 2-point conversion because that's how these games always end, by 2 or 3 points. I guess I could have guessed that they did get the 2-point conversion and it went to overtime or something, but unbelievable. Classic Steelers-Ravens. Russell Wilson kind of dinked and dunked his way, right? The quarterback for the Steelers never blows you away. They never even score touchdowns. It feels like the Steelers just kicked field goals, this time 6 of them. But guess what? It was enough to win the game because this is what Tomlin does. Dave Damashek said this last week. He muddles the game. He muddies the game up. Ravens penalties, drops. Ravens had penalties and drops. The Justin Tuckers missed field goals. Steelers defense typically stellar. I don't understand why it feels like the Ravens can't win these games, whether it's against the Steelers or close games like this, but it's not good. In fact, it's really bad because this is what playoff games are like.
Vikings, they beat Tennessee on the road, 23-13.
Sam Darnold played much better, Jack. Much better than the last couple weeks. No interceptions, 3 total touchdowns, some really nice throws under duress against the Titans defense. I mean, there's a couple times he was getting smoked and still delivered it. The Titans had their typical mistakes. Multiple penalties negated huge, like a Calvin Ridley 50-yard touchdown, no penalty. Although I will say this, that unnecessary roughness penalty in the end zone, very disappointing. Very disappointing. Everyone knows it was absolutely not a penalty in any way. And this is the NFL's biggest issue in my mind, is not using the technology that we have to correct an obvious wrong. By the way, the 11 Oaks hungriest performance, that could have been Andrew Van Ginkel. Unbelievable, that guy. Again, I mean, multiple sacks. He was all over the place. Vikings defense is absolutely legit. Brian Flores has those guys playing awesome. Other than that 98-yard touchdown pass to Westbrook Akine, the Titans would not have done very much.
Indy, they get a big win on the road in New York, beating the Jets, sending them to a 3-8 record with a 28-27 win.
Right, so the Jets, we can now officially announce that they're donezo or they're going fishing or whatever. They were surprisingly inept to start the game. And then the finish, including both Rodgers and the defense, gigantic step back. I mean, the defense has taken a gigantic step back the last couple weeks. Rodgers had like a nice stretch in the middle of the game. I'm still telling you, Jack, I will be surprised, but I will respect if Aaron Rodgers plays the rest of these games. I'll be curious to see whether or not he does. He's getting paid to do so. We shall see. The Colts had a great start, not great in the middle, but then they finished. Anthony Richardson was very close to being my hungriest performance of the week, my 11 Oaks hungriest performance. By far the best game of his career, throwing it so well, trucking defenders at the goal line. That was like Anthony Richardson's first full-fledged welcome to who you are. You're Cam Newton, dude. NFL game.
This was a shocker. The Broncos, their offense obliterates Atlanta 38-6.
Killed my teasers on the Even Money podcast. Killed it. I can't believe the Falcons coming off that loss against, the team we were talking about earlier, the Saints. The Falcons go out there and lay this much of an egg. That is really bad. I mean, Bo Nix has been on a tear, but this was a whole other level. This was by far his best game. The Falcons were terrible in the red zone. Didn't really give themselves even a chance to stay in it. But their defense, the Falcons' defense, is a problem. All these guys they got, Justin Simmons and Judon, doesn't matter. Meanwhile, the Broncos' defense remains legit.
Geno Smith, he literally walks off the Niners 2017.
That was incredible. I was so happy for him. We'll have much more to say, of course, Jack, about the Niners holistically on tomorrow's Power Rankings Tuesday and just kind of where they're at, where they stack up. But I guess what jumped out to me about this one is, no Kittle for the Niners, which is, hurts them, obviously. The other thing that jumped out to me, I guess, about this game, Nick Bosa had an injury, which is concerning. They say it's a new injury, but that is very, very concerning. And then Jennings had a nice game as the Niners. I don't think they ever should have paid Brandon Ayuk, ever. I mean, I just don't know why they did that, but they did. And then what else I want to say? Just Geno. I guess Geno was fantastic in the game. Very, very impressive.
The 72 Dolphins rejoice. Kansas City loses to the Bills in Buffalo 30-21.
They did. Sean McDermott went for it on 4th and 2 late. And I agree with that, by the way. I agree with it because Tyler Bass has had his issues. And does it really make sense to go up 5 on Mahomes? No. You go up 5 on Mahomes, you're begging him to go down, score a touchdown, and beat you. I loved McDermott's aggression there. Sometimes I've been critical of him. Loved his aggression there to go down and say, you know what? We are going to end this game right now. And obviously Josh Allen had, Jim Nantz called it the play of the season. And on some level, it really felt like it was one of the plays of the season. It was awesome. Speaking, by the way, plays of the season, I'm getting my play of the season next week, Jack. WestShoreHome.com. Free installation plus 18 months, no interest, no payments. How about this? For showers only, they are guaranteeing install by Christmas or it's free. I'm getting 2 new doors next Wednesday. The countdown is on. 9 days away from the 2 new doors and my wife loving me even more than she already does. Listen, there will be pictures on it. So you'll see the before and after pictures. WestShoreHome.com/Ross. That's WestShoreHome.com/Ross. Smirnoff knows there's no I in football. It's a we thing. An experience best enjoyed together with good drinks and good folks. There's a reason why Smirnoff's the world's #1 vodka and an official vodka partner of the NFL. This year, there are more opportunities to watch football and make delicious Smirnoff cocktails than ever before. Thanksgiving, Black Friday, Christmas, Smirnoff and the NFL are here with you every step of the way. Please drink responsibly. Smirnoff number 21 vodka, distilled from grain, 40% alcohol by volume. The Smirnoff Company, New York, New York. Please do not share with anyone under legal drinking age. Smirnoff, we do game days. The only other thing I would say about the Chiefs Bills is I thought Josh Allen clearly outplayed Mahomes again. Xavier Worthy for the Chiefs got off to a hot start, but then he really kind of cooled off after that. Greg Rousseau, That's one of the biggest difference between this year's Bills team and what they were before. Greg Rousseau and the D-line has really stepped up. Although I will say it still feels, Jack, like a playoff matchup is inevitable between these teams. I mean, that's happening.
The Bengals, they have to be the best 4-7 team ever. They lose in the closing seconds to the Chargers, 34-27.
Unbelievable. I mean, this game, first of all, it's so funny because I was watching the game and watching on Twitter while I was flying back last night, Jack, from Miami. And it's like the whole first half, it's like, Justin Herbert's the greatest ever. Justin Herbert's incredible. He's unstoppable. And I'm seeing all these, you see these awesome highlight reel throws, 27-7 Chargers. And then here comes Joe Burrow. Here comes Jamar Chase and the Bengals. They tie it up, but they can't finish. It's just not the Bengals' year for whatever reason. Fantastic game. I think the Bengals are just about donezo as well. I also think we're done here.
Thanks for tuning in to the Ross Tucker Football Podcast. Make sure to also check out Even Money, Fantasy Feast, and College Draft, all on the DraftKings Network, YouTube, or subscribe to the podcast on your favorite platform.
Shout out myfrontpagestory.com. You guys know how I feel about that. Backofficescheduler.com, Sporticulture, HumanHeadNYC.com, Pizza Boy Brewing.